Okay, salt preparation, you need to check solubility table. Okay, to determine whether a salt is insoluble or soluble. So what is the solubility table? Okay, the solubility table states that all nitrates and spar salts are soluble. Chlorides are soluble except for lead and silver. Sulfates are soluble except for calcium sulfate, lead sulfate, and barium sulfate. And all carbonates are insoluble. Only the spar salts are soluble. Okay, so for example, in this question, you are asked to prepare which salt? Copper 2 sulfate. So back to the solubility table, copper comes under the sulfate category. So all is soluble except for calcium, lead, and barium. So copper is not calcium, it's not lead, and not barium. So it is a soluble salt. Okay. Other than that, it has been listed that copper 2 sulfate is soluble in water. Okay, so with this, you go down the salt preparations chart. Okay, we will follow this to the soluble salt. So this soluble salt in question will be the copper 2 sulfate. Okay, so if you look at the two different preparation, titration method requires spar salts. So copper is not a spar salt, so we continue the flow to this, adding excess solid and acid method. Okay, so if you look at the question again, it started off with a black powder, which is copper 2 oxide, which is insoluble in water. So this is actually a insoluble base. How I know it's insoluble? Insoluble in water. So how do I know it's a base? Base are metal oxides. So copper 2 is the metal. Okay, it's the metal and oxide. So copper 2 oxide. Okay, so copper 2 oxide. So we are looking at the preparation method of acid plus excess insoluble base. Okay, so why do we need to use excess insoluble base? This is to ensure all acid are used up. If they are not used up, they will go into the salt and becomes a contamination. So acid can contaminate the salt that you are preparing. Okay, so how do we do the preparation method? Excess insoluble base plus acid. So for this kind of method, which is called the add excess solid, which in this case is an insoluble base, and an acid. First, you mix these two together to the acid that you want. So in this case will be sulfuric acid, until it is in excess. So you filter off to obtain the filtrate, because this salt is soluble, so it goes into the filtrate. Okay, after that you evaporate most of the water, and you can get crystals by leaving it to cool. What we do next is we want to maybe wash with cold deionized water, because you don't want to dissolve the salt back to solution. So we use a cold solution just to clean the surface and to dry with filter paper. So if you look at all these steps that is given, only these excess copper 2 to acid matches the first step here. So this is the first step. Then filter is the second step, evaporate, okay, and leave to cool. So that is why answer is B. Now, the other options we can evaluate based on what is given also. If we look at option A, there's no mention of excess solid. So this itself will not work well. And if you filter off the precipitate, there is actually the copper 2 oxide and it's not a precipitate that's formed. So this will cross out. So for step C, add indicator, this is actually a titration method. Okay, so this is also up. Next is, we want to add excess solid, not excess acid. So this part also wrong. And stop fizzing. In the first place, this is an acid plus base reaction. There is only salt and water. So there is no gas given out. So this is a wrong concept. Okay, so